Hello, I'm Gary, 87XG. We're going to review Legacy Radios 1947 through 1962. This is a Collins radio. It's a transmitter. It's a 310B-1 built in 1947. Collins was trying to get into the amateur radio arena, and so they built this transmitter to operate on 80, 40, 20, 15, even the old 11-meter band and 10 meters. It has a PTO, which is, today we call it a VFO, but the PTO is an acronym for Permeability Tuned Oscillator. It's a stable oscillator and was a great improvement over crystal radios, and it was probably the first stable, usable VFO. It ran 15 watts as an exciter, and Collins' thoughts were that amateur radio would grab a hold of the transmitter and build homebrew build amplifiers, linear amplifiers, and increase the power using this as a 15-watt driver. This is a Collins receiver, model 75A4, built in 1955. Collins radio was trying to get into the single sideband development for amateur radio and its ease of operation. The receiver receives 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 11, plus 10 meters. Its modes can receive CW, AM, and single sideband. It had 3 selectable mechanical filters, which again was a development of Collins radio. It also contained passband tuning, which is a fine tuning for the VFO, the main dial. Worked very effectively, especially for CW and single sideband. Rejection tuning minimized any interference, and it does contain a noise limiter. This is a Collins transceiver, model KWM2, built in 1959. It operates on 80 through 10 meters with 100 watts of power. It operates modes of single sideband and CW. It can go mobile with an external mobile power supply. It comes with some history. Thousands of them were produced, and most of them were contracted to military use. Gary Powers, who flew the U-2 aircraft over Russia, his aircraft, his U-2 spy plane, had a Collins transceiver in it when he was shot down. They also were in many embassies around the world, including Vietnam, Mars stations, etc. It works well with the Collins 30L1 amplifier or the Collins 30S1 amplifier. This is a Helicrafters radio set and 2 components. One is the receiver, SX-117, built in the 1962 to 1964 era. And the receiver would receive 80 through 10 meters amateur band, plus 10 megahertz WWV. It had a crystal calibrator and triple conversion, which was a good advancement. Selectivity was also good. It had 3-step selectivity on the receiver, 50 hertz, 2500 hertz, and 500 hertz or 5000 hertz in 3 selections. And the 5000 hertz was good for the AM spectrum. It had a noise limiter and a pre-selector. The pre-selector would give you maximum gain, signal to noise ratio. The next is the transmitter. It's an HT44. It was built in 1962. It operated 80 through 10 meters, also AM, CW, and single sideband. It ran 100 to 130 watts input, single sideband, and CW, with a 25 to 35 watt AM power capability. That was input power. It had a Vox circuit and CW break-in keying. It could also operate in transceive. The receiver and the transmitter could be combined, and therefore you'd have a transceiver type of operation. Thank you for visiting with me and talking about legacy radio. Now back to 20 meters.